trapped. Manawahuki Bobby Wena. Manawahuki Doggo. Yeah, so all these things that I've just highlighted over here are redeeming. Listen, we're still talking. Kiseven who's saying, and I kiss all fancy. Mara, it's not like I gala. Maybe I'm in the middle, I guess sure, or perhaps towards the end. Mara Tota. Is to help you understand all these things. I get highlight that. Little bear in polygamous affairs and like marital unfaithfulnesses that we were not aware of until we finally settle for married men because they duped us into loving them. Yeah, all these things that you be out there doing with no decorum, no class, looking like a debilitated building in downtown Johannesburg. No class, yeah. Okay, I escape it. I'm the cut above the rest. I get out. Mamela, I survived that which takes everybody over like a tsunami. Why? Because 1,000 falls at your side, 10,000 at your right hand, and it will not come near you. God visits the sins of the fathers to the 3rd and 4th generations, but to the 100th generation, I believe, maybe even 400th, listen, it's a big number. Does he visit blessings to those who repent? Well, I am a cut above the rest. I changed my mind. I made metanoia once upon a time about my family and the grain therein. And I took stuff to God in prayer. I petitioned. I supplicated. I made like Philippians 4 verse 6 to 8. I was not anxious for anything because I noticed that my community be as nasty can get. But with prayer and supplication and with thanksgiving, I made my request known to God that his peace, which transcends all understanding, will guard my heart and my mind in Christ Jesus. I saw it fit to give it all to the Lord. Because listen, listen, I see it for what it is. And God was like, I got you. For years. If my words abide in you and you abide in me, ask anything in my name and it'll be given. I'm still waiting for my husband and understand. He's coming. Away over the rainbow, my hubby is coming. Though you might be in denial, it's a thing is happening. I'm Tswana and Zulu, so stop fetishizing about me wearing stepping and a SCE modest hooray a Zulu outfit in a traditional wedding to a crazy dude. Cause me we be covering our bodies up, and me we not be priding ourselves in our boobies jiggling before a bunch of ogling bastards that don't care that our boobs should be covered, and me not be getting fetishized by a Zulu monster. Yeah, while I can appreciate African gear, I can't appreciate how immodest some of it is. It doesn't have to be all nude, naked, and ngono. And here in South Africa in particular, traditional outfits guys, hey, because all of the rest of Africa is not like you. Jongana ama Nigerian, their traditional outfits are modest. Jongani ama Ethiopians, ama traditional outfits wabo are modest. Largely. La kumzansi Afrika suit engagqoka. Halapa rike nkalona kabongono. Halibona there's a principality over your countries. Even your traditional outfits, especially within Zulu culture, are just nudist. The exposure of women's azitangas all over the show. Women's azibeles all over the show. Yonke into yomfazi nje la emgaqweni, jiggling before you all like some flabber. And stop priding yourselves in women's nakedness and degeneracy. Because at the end of the day, they are supposed to be incubated and protected by Nina. Lama Zulu chicks, lustful, and they must just stop. Not even Tswana traditional attire is as immodest as Zulu traditional attire. Ushaka Zulu when moshile, that's what's giving. Xhosa traditional attire is not as immodest as Zulu traditional attire. Shangan namashipelani wabo abekho as immodest as amaZulu angazi yini ngani maZulu with basically making your ladies naked. Mankada lapho bese niyobatrapa ngoba bona bashibhile. They're cheap to you. They don't mean jack even though goddamn bought those ladies with a price. Ay man. Okay, wait to maZulu. That's why ndefela na le reputation. Le sinya basadi. La basinya. How I get them over to Rata about Wabita Bontogas, is our one and Togas, how can wa, ga adultery, wa, gambama, wa, ga polygamy, wa, ga hamba shaga. And you phone like a jartin, Hutela debe, home, shut up. Yeah, I don't know what's giving over there. Mara, I get a busy, li dopey, li parle, li psins. Jaka hale tomi, let a sangwa usilibo abut, let tomi. So Pina in my outgala binang finally I'm getting to my music after all these hours. Listen, all these hours. The first one is never lost a battle. listen, I spoke all that just to get to this point. Modimo ha soka a latlhegelwa ke ntwa. And ntho ke leng mo hara yona e kotsi, e votang, e very hectic. Ke ntwa. And modimo ke hae. Ke mo neile yona. Ke neya bophelo ba ka. Matsohong a hao Jesu. Ke neya bophelo ba ka. Matsohong a hao Jesu. I made that decision, and it's the real deal because I'm a real Christian and I don't mix it with any kind of other nasty stuff. And since I gave my life to God, I'm winning. Like it or not, I'm winning. And so anyone who batlang defela go nyala ka beshu ya gage empe, ayina nabana no Zulu ba khona bungingcono namadoda enu abaqoganga in black culture amabeshu enu, they ain't got no that be out just showing everybody your butt cheeks and your dangling manhood. You're immodest Zulu people. Ambani nyo jongani. Traditional attire Masotho ka dikobo tse tsa bona tsa ko maseru tse ba khosa ngobe ba very hot all the day long. Nonetheless, they're covered, and so too are their women. Traditional Sotho attire, go look at it. Tswana ke lona fela ba majiji aling butt naked before all of y'all. Namaswati futhi nabo, essentially Swati and Zulu, I'm sure they are related because their languages are very similar. Ke bona ba khosha pa dinggono nakedness. And it is no wonder your little cult that's full of lust started go KwaZulu-Natal. Yes, nyan blame man in Mazulu. You've had a reputation stereotypically, historically, for being abusive. Kodwa sanzama, here, anarkanasa gansman. It's got all blanket painter, out here being all tribalist and everything. Until these buggers, the Lord done gave me a prophecy and shown me that they done started a cult in KZN to proliferate bona their nudity. Bona their incendiary agenda, bona their lack of adoration for women, bona their polygamy, bona their abusiveness, bona are responsible Lamazulu proper for proliferating GBV la emzansi because they compensate tomidwe ekadile ko KwaZulu nyantela manje. So you are not being accused. Where there is smoke, there is fire, Mazulu lankutu. It's your generational curse. Where there is smoke, there is fire. The degeneration of black men in this country, Mandela Nilimokhosa, Marakalte KwaZulu-Natal that he belongs to, that's full of ANC members. It comments when Gamazulu. And upon your biggest and most baddest Zulu president, Jacob Zuma, ONZ in this country, he wreaked more havoc in this land than Mandela, Mbeki, Kirelema Pos herself could ever cause. The damage that was caused by Jacob Zuma is astronomical. Listen, it speaks volumes of Nina Amazulu. It speaks volumes of the depth of destruction that you are to be causing in the country. One thing is not even Zulu, Marawana or influence Jacob Zuma. Listen, all the gangrene in this country is just spreading, metastasizing like a cancer. And yet you are just saying, no, have mercy on these people. It's not like I didn't like them. Not all with these hard knock surnames before. I've been with him. Listen, I've been with him. And while I thank God. I have been in love with 3 men, 2 of them Zulu. However, they claim every so often but same thing. And I've been in 4 decently serious relationships. One of the guys, I didn't love him because he was gay. So, and all of these guys have said, Lorna was Swati. Listen, Swati, I've been with all the men I've been in love with are either Swati or Zulu. All of them, including the one that I tried to leave out only because he was Swana. Mara, it doesn't matter because his name yake was Swati. He was this guy. He was a combination of Tswana and Swati and Swahili. He's is at Mozambique or Namibia. Like I want to bagi wobafike la emzansi. So he was entirely South African. Kodwa amaroots wake. Where which country was it? Hey, but he was beautiful. You were that guy. Mara, Satania najwa. Satan. But so fella coursing through his veins. Fella, they were like, and these are the ones that I was in love with. These are the ones that I dated. Okay, the one I didn't love him, one give him what OC. He's a twalanga we grandchild. Okay. Kodwa umZulu uqalile uyicommentsishile lento lena wena ngoshebesi owudlayo kwi-mouth yakho ungenandaba nabo sisters. Ubhizi ngoshebesi thina abanye sibiza ochebisi wena ushebisi ngoba umZulu uqalile ubhizi ushtuwa ishebisi. Anandaba nami right. Lamazulu lawa. All of them, like I said. Ngijole nabo bonke rubbish nonsense, right? And then I met like a Zulu hot boy omunye nje with a voice eletha when he's like on some Mjan Karawe. Hey, that guy's voice. Yes, like it never happened, but it's because he was busy out here stringing me along. It never happened. He had a girlfriend. I already told you the story of that guy. I'm not gonna get into it. I had a boyfriend. I was prepared to leave mine for his if he would leave his for mine. I was prepared to leave mine for him if he would leave his for me. Yeah, but you know, it didn't work out. God, but after I decided, you're not gonna string me along, baga. Lomzulu voice mengihlangisa, naye futhi mengangihlangisa. Except he was just Zulu. Hey, this guy nangihlanza. Yes. 5. I've dated 5 Zulu men. I neglected to highlight the one that was a professing Christian. And I get mega puma nase KwaZulu aksa nesemozulu ona twetwe atula mo Johannesburg, so he's all watered down. This one was proper, full on KZN. And when he spoke his Zulu, listen, I couldn't deal. After that guy rocked up all up in my streets out here doing a drive-by shooting, I never shed him. He just stuck. The way that guy, the way he used to speak, on the one that I did date, the one that claimed to be Christian, that was from KwaZulu Natal, got me like teaching myself extra Zulu on my tongue. But there are people that are like, oh, you never used to speak this much Zulu back in the day. This guy was the influence. The last boyfriend I ever had, I guess, as a Christian. I dated him for 2 months. He rubbed off on me so hectically. He was so influential, essentially, that that caused me to be training in Gati. I'm a little child teaching themselves how to sing in front of a mirror with a wooden spoon. Yeah, that's what's good. What does this mean? And I could listen to that guy speak all the day long. Authentic sako KwaZulu Natal esing watered down sako Kasi sako Soweto tena ngithwaya nogal lo muntu mekakhuluma isiZulu sele wanchaza, and even though ngaphuma kuye because listen, you're rude or snacks azang influence yakhe shared off me, eh? Like hair after like a bad case. He didn't shed off me like hair after like a bad product all up in your streets, or hair shedding after removing your 4-month-long 4C protective style and you after holding a tuft of hair in gaga. He never shed. He just stayed in there. He just stayed. Wabloma lo muntu because I get buzolo bateng who influential bakaza. Amuntu oye bacho. Remember Zulu boy? Remember Zulu boy? He did this one Shellington skit where he was shouting this one chick in Zulu. Yo, dog. It went famous, yaba viral. I don't know on what platform, was Twitter I think at the time. And everybody was like, yo, did you see Zulu boy last night? Yeah, Zulu Jews be out here talking to you, hollering at you, speaking to you, and making you feel some kind of uncomfortable. Hey, man, how talk to mobotlo drapa abuti? Obotlo lawyer abuti? Obotlo insist on nakito ba msadwa hahole basadi babang by 20 abuti? Obotlo this, obotlo that. Mamela, on that day, I'm going to out here shopping Setswana Saka. Kitlogelo wa Zulu because wang boga. Because now I'm half Tswana, half Zulu, so listen. I out here am hawking up my heritage. Yeah, Setswana. I'm renouncing, relinquishing, defecting from Buzulubo. So I'm on Nashaga. I can't stand the rock and the hard place that you find yourself in with Zulu men. Like I can't. Because I've been with them. And they're easy to love, but they're also easy to loathe. And then it gets so the one owner that I used to date influenced me to a point where now Siki West is a lot more than I speak Tswana. My ex-boyfriend would be confused as to because even though he was Zulu / Swati, he spoke with me Tswana because that was largely what was on my tongue. But this guy was pure Zulu from KwaZulu, and I just was like basking underneath that, and I was like, I'm Zulu too. Like, pardon me. Hey. And I sat with it, right? However, I met one that, like I said, the one that I was out here on some, if you leave your girlfriend, I'll leave my boyfriend for you. I just showed you just how towed up from the floor up my wig is now that the sun is rising. But anyway, whatever. Let's hope my phone does not overheat. Yeah, this one, the one that I met at MTN, that one, hey. The other one that I did date when I was a Christian, because I thought he was a Christian, but he turned out to be involved in witchcraft. I Tandela Itagazelo Zaki and all his traditionalism and what have you, mega cute and whatnot. God, why his stature was kind of small. And the relationship in Gagorobela. Whereas this other one, who is yet another called bugger that ignored his calling in the Lord. Lorna, I met him on training some years back, and this guy, what everything, like he was tall and he was tall. Like if his name was Vosi, essentially, he would not even be Vusi, he would be Vose. Oh, this guy. No, Shem, he was everything in a bag of potato chips. And then on top of that, like, I first met him on training. On training. On the day when I spoke with him on the phone, I was like, what? Yes, like this guy, he called me. I was running away from him because he was out here dragging me through the mud. And I guess he was an employee at the company that I worked for, but he was working in Constantia. This guy, because I got to a point where I guess he was stringing me along, so I started avoiding him. And then he called me, got private number, because he saw me walking in the building and he was in a boardroom in a meeting, having come from Constantia. From that very boardroom, I don't know, like maybe it was before the meeting started, so I don't know how he managed to get that done. And it's out there giving private number. He privatized his number because I was avoiding him. I literally saved his number as do not answer on my phone. I saved him as don't answer. I'm phoning like a private number. And then he was like, this guy. He was like, I was like, at first I was like, hello. He was like, hi. He was like, hello, unjani. Like, he spoke unjani. Like, he greeted in Zulu. And I was like, I'm good, thanks. And you thinking that, who's calling me? Is it a stakeholder? I want to see his face. I didn't know who it was. And then he was like, and then I realized, and then he was like, his name was Vusi. I was like, because he figured out that I'm running away from him because he was stringing me along. Mara, at that moment, I remember thinking I am being called by a stakeholder and I don't know who this is. Mara, yes, like it voice, hi. You be out just stumbling some females, speaking some kind of hectic on the phone, and causing women to lose their minds. You're married? If you're gonna make me go gaga and crazy over lesbian, you can't beat that, so I don't know what's wrong with you. With all this giftedness in you, more even than any other single cultural group. The way that Ndefela Oling Tumbuka thing, how kata mo boto lawyer, auto kala culti, auto proliferator polygamy, auto basadi botoko, auto insist on uba ignore, auto bafa KZN was, and likely still is, I stand corrected, I have not gone on right ahead to gaze at those statistics, okay? The one province that had the biggest prevalence of HIV and AIDS in the country, Mazulu. I'm sure sizona alja human language, uma ningafuni bobhutiza nabosistayisa ukurepentisha kulungile ke njengoba nilahle wonke lo mzansi kodwa thina abanye asizododa because I can't get all the words. Asizododa lana from indawo yokuthi nisilahlele thina elwandle eDurban Beach naphuma kithi sonke la eMzansi nasidubula thina ingathi singabantu base Australia kwiBondi Beach kodwa nisidubula eKwaZulu sigrand ngani. Uma nifila ungathi nizosilahla thina sonke emabhodleleni nisilahlele elwandle njengoba nithakathe wonke lo mzansi kulungile ke bobhuti nabo sisters nathi sizonilahla kwi-revolution njengoba anizingeni indaba zokuzihotla njengoba futhi abantu banithanda kakhulu kanje na nihlangisa girl nihlangisa boy nihlangisa wonke umuntu apha usixhosa lo lapha njengoba nihlangisa kabuhlungu kanje na nina girl no boy no sister no body sizonhlapa siphume kuni sinidibanise nezinto okay that's Xhosa sinihlanganise nezinhloko zekakameni lawa oblome la so that's Xhosa Iran utola nimthandile utola wenu Ayatollah uKamini namlethisha apha namlethisha lapha ku-South Africa ethu umzansi nathi ya woza uzobloma nathi njengoma sihappy nawe noma udestroyisha emzansi mazolo referits HIV is prevalent because of you. Your province is the most prominent when it comes to all things nefarious, crime, loftiest. Whenever there are natural disasters, it's out here blowing up your bridges, the rain out here be blistering your shacks. You are the natural disaster capital of South Africa. You are the natural disaster capital of South Africa. You are judged as a tribe. It's like, let's think about the tribe of Judah. Not Judah, but the tribes of Israel. It's like Benjamin, half tribe of Manasseh. There is Ephraim. There is, like whatchamacall. There are all these, listen, I'm actually losing my mind, right? The Levites, you get tribes, different tribes in Israel. But God had a thing about judging individual tribes. You will remember what the Benjamite tribe did? The one from where Saul rocked up, the king, the first king ever of Israel. You will remember one time that the Benjamite tribes out here raped a man's concubine and she died from all that rape, and then her body was cut up into multiple pieces and then scattered across all of Israel, and then all of Israel had to pick the bone essentially with the tribe of Benjamin, and they had to stop the fight against the tribe of Benjamin in order to preserve them as a lineage, but otherwise it would have been wiped out because of their sins. So God can indeed, isolate a tribe in a country, in a nation, and judge just them because you're the crazy ones. He can judge just them because you're the ones that are out here nefarious like no man's business. And South Africa Zulu tribe, Mamela, you are like the tribe of Benjamin out here raping a woman, and then because of your folly, her body parts cut up sent to the rest of the Zulus, the Xhosas, the Tswanas, the Pedis, the Shangans, and they're like, yo, Jongan Lezinjalezi, they have destroyed South Africa, and so Kwamele and feel like Natal, and just go string, for string, for making like samurais, and just slice and dice you, but for the sake of preserving South African heritage, preserve like 5 of you, that your descendants might go and live to tell the story, so you don't get wiped off from the face of Israel altogether, otherwise known as South Africa. Like, you need to be rated as the Zulu tribe amidst blacks for destroying South Africa like this. You did that. You influenced all this trash. We understand Umbeki was Xhosa, and so too was Mandela. But like I said, there is no more nefarious president we've ever had than Jacob Zuma. Not even Cyril Ramaphosa compares. Okay, Cyril Ramaphosa is horrible with his money in the couch, but frankly, they've been worse. We've had worse type establishment thing. Like, look at the spawn that he produced, Judas Malem, and he ain't even Zulu. You influenced the whole country. This cult has caused GBV, like we are being massacred as women in this country because of what you started at Ekwasu. Is it because you got an ocean? No, it can't be. Because, listen, the Xhosa's got an ocean too. Ilwandle and your marine spirits are not responsible for all this malarkey. It's just you and your Zulu thing. It's just you, Zulu ba benu. And then njengoba ni attractive kangaka nichaza abo girl ngama voice a deep kodwa anina any sincerity within your bones. And then spare only like just a cool 7 of you. Today the lessons. After Abantu, take your heads, dog. Cause you like an Anakin, you're like Goliath. You're the monstrous tribe amongst us, okay? You're the gnarly beast in Africa. Not Africa, but South Africa. This cult, you all know. And again, I keep dreaming about Lamazulu Namapeshuabo. Because God is not just picking on you, and neither are we just picking on you saying, yo, we are tribalist or le satani. And the customary law laying the snacks. Isn't it your little bright idea? All over the streets. You should have just stayed in KwaZulu, incubated yourself, made a border around yourself like your Raccoon City. Out here quarantined for hosting the T virus. And never let it escape. But look at you make like a zombie apocalypse to the rest of us. We can't help if you infiltrate into our cities. Listeners. And so that's why Mina, upon petitioning for a husband, I was like, I'm Funumzulu. Akibati Muzulu. Celebrity Kiwanka Yona. Asimuzulu. Marabona influence he put Matesa Oling Mozulu. He was sent on me as, I think he's Tswana or Soto or whatever. He was sent on me by a Zulu occult boss. And the son of this occult boss, Zulu man, Kimozolo, of course, in and of himself. And he came looking at a traditional wedding. To me, a Zulu traditional outfit, hectic. Anataba komsadi wadenye owamunyalang. Twanze nje fela abe his only to look at. Twanze ka fela batho one of my dangling breasts. Kalingalo la rona. Monna teng a pride himself ke taba ka pere digcepe kalingalo la rona. Ana namsadi o mong ka montle ka mola wa mo le maditseng. The celebrity owner o ke zama ngo mo reach for Christ reasonable. I don't know what he is. I missed those two. Opedi. That was just gotten to by the T virus of the Zulu genome. And while intombazane zenu, man, and while nani ni fly and your voices are deep, Lara sing it. And even these Zulu girls stand to benefit from recovery to sense, because largely yini amadoda wakhona that are destroying South Africa, not so much the women. Yini Zulu men that are destroying the country. And while our politicians are a mix of cultures, they're influenced by you, and this cult, like proper, its roots are Zulu. Shebang mandashe nonsense. Greed. His name sounds like greed. Ugwere mandashe. Because South Africans are poor because they're not looking for jobs, honey. You and your ugly government are responsible for why there is no employment for black people in this country. You don't care for black people. And so when you say that you're out there sapping us, draining us, juicing us, you ugly little poor people, because you don't want to get jobs. Where are the opportunities out in jail? And you're not giving us electricity, are you? Those that can't get 9 to 5s that keep them alive because they don't have degrees, they can have businesses in the Gussie. And yet you're letting them not do that. You're not allowing that for them. You're blocking their prosperity by making sure that in their village, in their towns, go val habana mutlakasi for months on end. So mantashishi. Angela umuntu waseval njengoma uthi akafuna umsebenzi, that's why she's not employed, or he is not employed. That's why ele domestic worker umuntu waseval ongenamsebenzi according to you, because akawufuna umsebenzi wakhona. Uzofuna nini umsebenzi and your corrupt government refused to allow Elon Musk to install Starlink over our country because you were so corrupt as a government that you insisted that he give you 30% based on your BE ugly laws that 30% of any business must go to black people. Elon Musk refused that, so there's no Wi-Fi. In South Africa overtops in a way that, listen, right now the regime in Iran is falling apart. Nonetheless, information is getting to us even though they've switched off internet because of Elon Musk's Starlink. Those who have got Starlink internet are able to give information to the rest of us in the world that are trying to figure out what's going on in Iran, though mainstream media is not covering it. We've got lovely brothers out here covering it, like 2CTV and people like these, able to access Iranians with Starlink. So get, therefore, footage of what's going on the ground. In South Africa, if there was to be a revolution out here that would where the government is unlikely to happen that way in South Africa, however, because of our democracy, where they will switch off Wi-Fi, they wouldn't dare, it would be too audacious, right? There's not that level of draconian restrictedness in this country, but should the nation, when there is a revolution, make a decision to turn off all internet in the country, that we might not be able to share news in the world, for we've made ourselves a pariah about what's going on down in these streets. We can't even get news out via Starlink. Maybe through virtual private networks, it might work. But I mean, doesn't VPN operate on electricity? So if there's no electricity everywhere, I guess stuff still doesn't work? I don't know. Mara, gwere mandashe. Abantu baseval, they cannot look for the very jobs on Career Junction or anywhere where they can go, or neither create employment by being entrepreneurs in their gassis. They cannot look for jobs on PNet, Career Junction, anywhere, because the internet cafes shut down. I mean, how are they going to operate with no power? Electricity gone for months on end. And so they can't out here be peddling their CV. And how many people do you know that go door to door knocking and giving their CVs anymore out to people? No, you need the internet to apply for jobs. So the citizens of Val don't have jobs because they can't apply for them. The matriculants, they can't apply for jobs at call centers unless they travel far away to go and find an internet cafe in a place that has got electricity. And then those that try to start businesses, they can't carry on because, I mean, they don't have electricity. So South Africans don't have electricity. Sorry, South Africans don't have jobs because they're not applying. I'm a South African Gwede Mantashe and I'm poor and I don't have a job. But am I not trying to work? And is your little syndicate belonging to the ANC also infused nonsense into its bones by Zulu trash? Though Mantashe in and of yourself, you're not Zulu. Yeah. As Kulumene we Tanshi. Abuti Joe. Arabueng. I cannot musebesi mara. Listen, am I not sitting on millions over here? Don't listen. I sing like a bird. Can I not do covers on YouTube and still make money? I bake for, listen, I got pastries for that. I bake. Can I not out here be selling my cinnamon buns or doing a YouTube channel where it is that I am baking? Because you know how food channels be out here taking off, but is your gnarly little ANC baboon of a female Wamugwanti not sitting on my chest making sure I can monetize a YouTube channel? Then while I'm not trying to monetize ministry, I indeed would want to. I try to start fitness. I try to sell t-shirts on Etsy. Your government blocked me. You literally shadow banned. You blocked me for having any avenues of making income. You literally did that to a South African citizen. You essentially closed me off the way that Iranian, the Ayatollah regime, the Iranian regime, has essentially closed off Iranians from being heard by the world at large by switching off their internet. You don't want the world to see people struggling on the ground and also the revolution. You don't want the news getting out. So the same way that Iranians have been blocked from internet, you have done a proverbial blockage of an internet on my person. You banned me, ANC government, from ever finding a job here in this country. Some of y'all were like, I will never work again. Nobody will ever give me an opportunity. I tried to sell t-shirts on Etsy. I tried to sell books on Amazon. I tried to monetize YouTube channels. I tried to monetize fitness. I tried to start cooking, and not cooking, but baking as a means to make money. And you said you're not going to make a single dime. You're not going to use online streams of income. And then when I try to apply for jobs in corporate South Africa, you blocked all that. So, Mr. Tashi, as Kulumeni, oh Neanderthal, because you're the true Neanderthal. Let go. Let your Nota Baloyi out here be labeling Neanderthals rightly as they ought. Oh, Tashi, the Neanderthal, also sounding like tush because you're a bum. Angitshele bhuti wami, mina angisebenzi ngoba anga-apply for umsebenzi. Yeah, okay. Sharp dog. Go and take my CV, look at it. See my experience, listen to me speak nje kuphela. Gauge my intelligence, gauge my employability, and get my unemployment over 14 years, 11 years of serious corruption in this country. Gaze as well. At Tabore, I was completely innocent. The evidence out here exculpatory in my favor, however, inculpating all my enemies. The paper trail is in favor of me, and yet I lost the case to the CCMA. The labor court did not even listen to me. I went to the legal aid board, would not take up my case. So all that's left for me to essentially go to is the Supreme Court of Appeal. And I can't go there while all of your crazy judges are still seated, because then I will lose that case and therefore never ever get justice for my particular case. It's a constitutional matter right next to a Supreme Court of Appeal matter, and because there are criminal facets to it, I would likely have to fight it in either both courts or one of them. And I can't go to either of them because I've already gone to a high court, otherwise known as the labor court, and they out to dealt me a bad blow. I tried to open a criminal case against all the people who wreaked havoc in my life, and they wouldn't open a criminal one because your police officers are not educated enough to be able to know the difference between a civil case and a criminal case. If you are to be criminally infringing on me, if you break down my door at my apartment and your police officer is responsible for that, and you cause all that vandalism, it's a criminal case, and I reported that, and the police refused to open it because apparently it's a civil matter. They can't even figure out a difference between civil cases and criminal ones. Oh, Mr. Tashi. So, and again, since your PFF Mbumba Beste failed like abysmally at hooking up a forensics lab here for all manner and kinds of GBV incidents, Mr. Tashi, GBV victims in this country don't get any justice. So seeing as I am facing a whole chunk of violence from men, when I'm trying to run away from them, you are saying that my job is these men, when there is no justice even for GBV victims. So if at all South Africans are not looking for a job, and that's why we're poor, you're saying that, okay, Karabo, you don't have a job because, listen, you're lazy and you're not looking for a job, but you can look for a husband, except these men are out here killing women, and when they get killed, your forensics lab out here not giving justice to victims of GBV. So listen, I will stick. A revolution is coming, oh Dashi. Given that you're in severe denial of the fact that South Africans are poor, because you made them poor. You and you alone, oh Dashi, sounding like a tush because you're a bum. South Africans are poor because you, as a regime, because that's what you are, you're not a democracy, you're officially a regime. You made South Africans poor. Because I am supposed to be wealthy, I am supposed to be empowering other South Africans, I am supposed to be building young women, I am supposed to be empowering South Africans. I am supposed to be empowering South Africans, but in and of myself, I have been disenfranchised. So Dashi, no thank you. I will reject your narrative, and you can go with your BFF Bomba Peste of a Nota Baloyi idiot, and just continue to call white folk Neanderthals, even though you're the true Neanderthals in these streets. You're the ones with no cognition. You're the true planet of the apes, but listen, there is a denial. Damaya with your ugly thing that you're doing. But I'm not loving it, I'm not keeping it, I'm not doing anything with it, I'm not rolling it like some cinnamon buns that I'm supposed to be making on my island in my kitchen to be out just selling them at a farmer's market because I love to bake. Dashi. Sounded like a tush because you're a bum. I said it. Yeah. So Pumani Gimi, Nonke, like Nkonkode. This Snaxy, you have ruined the country, you know that you've done that. You're wealthy and you give yourselves only power. You give yourselves only strength. And you strengthen the hands of wicked men. You strengthen the hands of the oppressor. You strengthen the hands of those that weaken the feeble. You have no regard for the regular man on the street. And listen, we are the majority. But you can turn off electricity as much as you want, like the Iranian regime, but you're not going to win to essentially be that corrupted in South Africa. Look at your Cyril Ramaphosa be awarding, or at least attempting to award, some kind of safe haven for Ayatollah. Like, he's looking to go to France, but so too is South Africa out here looking to accommodate him. Why are you bringing Khamenei here in the same way? Then why under heaven did you bring those Palestinian airplanes here when you can't even take care of your own people? I mean, how much is it going to cost to house Khamenei when Buildings in downtown Johannesburg are littered with sewage that people are living in, eating on, and yet you are just trying to bring a terrorist on our country. Give him an option at coming here. If at all things fall apart for him in either Russia or France. My man, let him go to France. Let that crazy man married to a geriatric take him in. Let that crazy anti-Semitic idiot take him in. But if he comes here, you're only gonna spur up more suspicion on the part of South Africans. Because listen, you've all this time been ridiculous. Somewhere else. Already all of our food is halal. We don't want Kamane. I am big Kamane, repent and give your life to Christ. I'm not trying to be nasty or mean or whatever to Kamane, but you are a mean guy. And so seeing as you're a mean guy, listen, we're gonna slap you out the way unless you repent and give your life to Christ. Repent, Kamane, or anywhere else. All of y'all that actually don't want to give your life to Christ because you want to be these tyrants, go where you want to go. But send back your common name because he is not right for us. What is he gonna do here? I found out the other day, apparently, allegedly, not Lebanon. I found out that Assad apparently went back to Syria. Here it is that I'm thinking that he's out here still hanging out in Moscow. I guess after a time when things simmer down, to their neighborhoods because they miss home. Everybody loves where they come from. So if you're gonna go and defecate where you eat, if you're gonna go and destroy your own country, understand you're gonna have to go and flee and go and live in a white country like Moscow, culture completely different from your own, until you finally move back to Syria very quietly and live in a neighborhood where nobody knows where under heaven you be out here hanging out as Assad. Because so too is Israel. Though now Jelani is running the streets, though everybody's of the imagination that not for long, but nonetheless, after the Assad regime fell apart, he went to there and then went back home. So if you're gonna go and destroy your own country, keep for now, president of this nation, the day's gonna come when whoever's gonna replace you at the time of the revolt, the revolution, somewhere else. But listen, ain't no place like home. But you will not be reaping what you have sown. Cause look, ain't no place like home for Karabo. But all trepidatious and anxious about living in America. I'm not comfortable. I don't want to go, frankly. I would have much rather loved to stay in my own land. Cause ain't no place like home. Yeah, Mara, how can I live here when it's so insufferable? People would much rather live where it is that they come from. But if you're gonna make their countries uninhabitable, all they will ever do is long for the day when they return to their motherland or their fatherland, like Israel has a fatherland, because it belongs to God the Father. Amen. People are gonna want to return to their fatherland or their motherland. So seeing as now you will kick me out of my mama land, alright, your turn. Mamela, your turn. You leave the motherland because you kicked me out first. So now you go get acclimated to a new culture, a new people, and drink different tasting water. You go and deal with big chunky portions of McDonald's that don't make no kind of sense in America. I'll just be eating popcorn out of a box that big. Don't understand why everybody ought to be eating so much. You go and you live in a land where everything just costs a little too much, where you are glad of the even in the worst of situations and positions. Your food is still affordable even though you're corrupt. I spoke about corruption in my last video. Nonetheless, Americans would come here and shop for like 20,000 years. They would buy all their fill of whatever they want to buy before they go back home. And you want to move me to a nation where I'm gonna like Papa, prices are just gonna kill me. Even though I will be earning, of course, I'm gonna be okay, comfortable in dollars, but nonetheless, the cost of their prices are gonna be just so crazy because of how cheap the same stuff would have been here in this country. Never mind that, just how different like water tastes in other places, like fine, tap water. Like there are some places in this world where you can't drink tap water. In South Africa, you be out of go. Though they sell you Bonaqua, we don't need it. Our tap water is perfectly fine. It's perfectly lovely. Our plumbing is perfectly functional. Yeah, man, there are countries where tap water out every so often, yeah, brown stuff. Or it tastes too much like chlorine. Or there's too much fluoride or whatever. There are benefits out of being in this country. The air might be polluted, but it's cleaner than some countries in the world because our industry is not quite where under heaven other countries are at. There are benefits of being in this country. Our weather, we don't have extremes, unless of course God is always plaguing you because I don't know, aren't you in KZN or whatever? Yeah, but we don't have weather extremes. Even Cape Town will do weather extremes as well. But we don't have issues like earthquakes, too much anyway. There was a tremor the other day, but it didn't do much. And we also don't have things like hurricanes, earthquakes, and infrastructure is largely made, like our buildings, the residential properties are made of brick and mortar, base brick. Whereas in the US, there's so much wood there that you don't understand, given that they've got so many natural disasters. Why under heaven are you building wooden buildings to live in when your country is so prone to all these natural disasters? So like their stuff just flies away every time there's a hurricane, whatever. We don't even have hurricanes, and yet our structures are so reinforced. There is a lot going on over here. That's beautiful. Our nation is lovely, but you've made it insufferable for me. Because like, if I can't work here, if I can't live here, if I can't have a successful career here, if I can't be intelligent and so therefore prove that, listen, I'm smart, so listen to me here, if I can't study, if I can't get my fill of basically enjoying my land flowing with milk and honey, listen, whatever. If I can't out here be insisting that today I want grapes in particular from Cape Town and just take an airplane and go there, if at all I have to crease my forehead and wondering, but why did I show speed come to South Africa for New Year's Eve? Because dude, it's not that great here. Go back to America. It's better. Go, if anything, go to Iran and try and help them there to riot, because South Africa's not the best. But people still think that this country is worth a while to visit. Yet, however, I found out the other day from First Post that there was a whole, like Canada joined a list of other nations, US being among them, and I believe France, out here warning their holiday makers over the holiday season to not go to South Africa because here violent. And yet I Show Speed came here for New Year's Eve. So in spite of people being like, danger, gevaar and gozi, don't go to South Africa, people come. Because your country, listen, it's out here giving lava lamp. It's mesmerizing like me. People can't help but come here. But the day's gonna come when it's uninhabitable. Because who in the world out here plans to go on a holiday in Iran? Who plans to go on holiday in Afghanistan? I saw this one YouTube video where the name of the video was, I went to Afghanistan and I returned within 24 hours as a tourist. Yeah, there are nations that you can't just stay. Yeah, there are countries where you cannot stay because go intense, go hectic. However, there are also nations where it is that people will say don't go there and yet they go anyway. You know how recently there was like a whole hurricane, tornado, whatever. Or Jamaica, but people are just still going arriba, ete. Underneath over there, that's Mexico, but you get my point. Mexico is another one. People are to be speaking about drug cartels and essentially the home of El Chapo. But hey, don't you want to go to Mexico and eat? Well, but when las a pecan bite, a chica arriba, da sombrero or what? You still go to Mexico even though people be like, paso. You will get taken by narco terrorism. Aren't you going to Brazil anyway? Despite whatever is going on over there that might be on the news. Aren't you going to Colombia anyway? Aren't you going to Spain, to Greece anyway? In spite of like, hey, pass up this, pass up that. South Africa, you got that going for yourself. Everybody be like, pass up, and yet people come here. Well, the day's gonna come when it's like, pass up, and I get it. I get it. I get pass up. I get it. I do. Yeah, but not yet. And for as long as you're still happy, wealthy, healthy, and wise, and out here making people in downtown Joburg the only ones enduring a crazy country that people nonetheless find worthwhile to visit as a tourist. I mean, what would I Show Speed think about you're not downtown Joburg yet and those buildings? Is Ponte not a tourist attraction just simply because of being that round building in the center of Joburg? But if he were to go to Ponte, would he not just want to get out of there as soon as he got out of that witch's house that he went to, that gave him a reading, and he walked out? Would he not leave Ponte as soon as he goes in, even though he was a curious little I Show Speed? I need chili. Like, listen, tell me, I need to know. You're doing that to your country. One day, it's supposed to be a marvel to gaze upon. But it's not, is it now? It's the suicide building of the whole entire Johannesburg metropolitan area. The nation is teeming at the falls with sorcery. The country, I've lived here. Listen, I live here. DJ Waras. Back in the day, as students in school uniform. I don't know what it looks like. I don't even want to know. I just know that downtown Joburg is not what it used to be. And all of many of our courts, many of our public offices are there. So if our lawyers can't go to a magistrate court without like vest, maybe set up in bullet, without a bulletproof vest. What's going on? My dad used to be a lawyer and he was always in downtown Joburg to do his cases criminal. My family had salons over there. When I was growing up, I'm a taxi and everything, and it was largely still okay, it was on its way out. You will remember how, Mamela, we did not have an earthquake. We didn't have an earthquake. What happened? Remember in Johannesburg, quite a prolific strata. South Africa, listen, I don't know what's going on with you, okay? My heart, like, I don't want to cry anymore. Remember that incident that happened in Joburg, where there were a few, like, people died. Like the whole street just bombed, like it literally just caved with taxis there and people and buildings. And if that road or that like street, if that patch of road had cracked up like that underneath a building, that building would have come down and we would have been dealing with casualties that nobody can count. And that was as a result of a lack of maintenance, bad piping. It just burst. Something happened and then a whole entire street in downtown Joburg just like cracked up like there was an earthquake where except there was no earthquake. It just on its own, just like caved. That street has been around since the days of apartheid. That's how much you're not maintaining streets, and that's how bustling downtown Joburg is until that street just caved. Killing taxi drivers, taxis out here getting swallowed up by that sinkhole, and people died. You did that to the country. I don't know what has ever since then happened. I don't know if that whole street has been closed off or what, not built on again. I live in Wilgehevel, and there was this bridge that for years, like my family has lived in this neighborhood for years. when I was still in my 20s, I'm 41, and we were up and down that bridge. Apparently it is so unstable that it had to be quarantined and closed off, so now it's no longer usable, and nobody's rebuilding, nobody is reimagining, nobody's nothing. What happened? Like, what materials? This neighborhood is relatively new. It was built after apartheid ended by essentially all these big business bosses, bar construction and whatnot. That is when under heaven. No. Okay, got it. My song had disappeared here. Type establishment thing. That's when this neighborhood was built, all of it. And yet there is a bridge over here that we can no longer drive on, but people can walk on it. Motorcycles, essentially there's too much weight on it by vehicles for it to be safe. So it's entirely closed off. I thought it was as a result of construction work that was being done, but it's been now, I think, 2 years. And it appears that they don't intend to open it ever again. Are you serious? Like a bridge over like a little river in front of a residential neighborhood was built with such shoddy raw materials that somewhere along the way it became clear that cars over there are too weighty and the structure could fall apart. So rather than essentially fix it, you just closed it off. If it's too heavy for cars, then is it not unsafe even for anyone else that can just walk on that bridge because of the fact that rain, nature, weather can finally collapse it? Why are you not fixing it? That is South Africa. And yet they're still busy out here building new buildings when they can't even their original infrastructure get it done right. Your nation, it's almost like it's been built with sticky tape, with glue and plastic. Thank God we are not a natural disaster zone. But if at all we were to get like a most cataclysmic earthquake, are not all the sectional titles are built after apartheid was repealed gonna fall? Because look at how Baldwin Group sliding doors be falling on dads and their children. Look at how walls be forming in cracks in the walls of the complex that you have just newly moved into. Already it's been newly built and there's a crack on the wall. So essentially they've used such substandard materials. Like I said, it's the bosses of construction companies right next to the government, and Wonkomudu is giving everybody amatenders, and it's just, listen, they are lining their pockets, making themselves wealthy while building the country with Lego blocks. So if South Africa were to endure a hurricane, a blizzard, some kind of just hectic natural disaster, given that our homes are built with brick and mortar, they should not fall that easily. And yet, listen, thank God we're not a natural disaster prone country. We are built in a most beautiful part of the world. Yet, nonetheless, should there be, and indeed somewhere in the future, all these disasters will rain on all nations, you're going to see just, listen, after an earthquake that hits Johannesburg, how it will be new properties, new developments, and by new, I mean after apartheid ended. And all these construction groups built all these townhouse complexes and sectional titles in suburbia to accommodate the influx of the previously disadvantaged groups moving into the suburbia. You will notice how strongly reinforced buildings like Rosebank, Florida, old school apartheid buildings that also are very spacious and roomy, built in the days of apartheid, how they will be standing because they were built with proper raw materials, and how the newer flats, and being newer, they are supposed to essentially be the ones still standing, right? Because they're newer, yet they will be the ones on the ground because of just bad workmanship by the present bosses of construction companies. Bad raw materials of present construction bosses, yet nonetheless they are charging quite a pretty penny for all these buildings. That's what South Africa looks like. So like I said, aren't you blessed right now by the natural disaster? Not too much anyway, unless you're in KZN. On that day, let your bridges fall, okay? Because Mazulu, I'm a busy king. And Mazulu, I know some of y'all are innocent, so don't come at me. I'm not generalizing. You're like the Iranian population, while your bosses are like Ayatollah Khamenei. I'm picking a bone with the regime, okay? The regime. Don't come at me. Alright, so zonke lezinto they are gonna fall on you. Mara, as for me, karabo kimo link blokile gwede mandashiwa lonara. I'm unemployed and poor because I'm not looking for a job, while there's somebody sitting on my chest making sure I can't work. Sharp, dashi, sounding like a tush because you're a bum. Kodwa zonke lezinto azizongithinta. I've been trying to sing this music for a minute. I'm not getting around to it. Okay. A thousand may fall at your side, 10,000 at your right hand, but it will not come near you. You grab your gems, your most precious people, and you impoverish them, you disenfranchise them, and whoever basically is the highest bidder, that's where your stuff goes to. You are essentially these big chunky Mormons taking your multiple wives, but because you're also ancestral worshippers, you're like Ashaga Zulu that converts to Mormonism. I don't know what's going on over there. Whatever it is, anyfuna kuyenza la emgaqweni komzansi mara nna ke feditse ka lona. Ke a tsamaya le sabat, let's us buy. I would much rather stay in South Africa. I would. Mara, unsustainable. You've made me like a person that has to fly, leave in flight from disaster because kita guy dog my country young bolai. Stuff as I'm heli sees where sinyama or safa. It sees where savan do. We've never gone out of apartheid because the baton was taken by corrupt blacks. Hey, what? Now South Africa, the oppression is not under white supremacy but under black supremacy. Listen, that's a thing. Tatani, your crazy nefarious country that Archer is gurgling blood like a person that has just endured a most heinous car accident. Itate. But as for me, Ashe, like oil upon your feet, like wine for you to drink. And like water from my high, I pour my love on Christ. It breathes like perfume. I lavish mine on Him till every drop is gone. I'll pour my love on you. As was cool, unless we're singing for Rabish. Yeah, that's your South Africa. Your CRL commission nonsense or CLM magazi. Listen, take your acronyms. I don't even care for them. Yeah, if we're not blogger. Prophesying by Christians when this here is on my tongue. Hambani's in Yahweh.